Council, which is still failing children despite millions of pounds, a turnaround team and a government advisor all brought in to help.
2 years ago, Ofsted carried out an unannounced inspection of Norfolk County Council to look at the way it was dealing with children in care. The service was branded inadequate on all levels. The report said too many children were at risk of serious harm. A new management team was brought in, £16 million of extra money was spent, and this year the government sent in its own advisor. But despite that, today, the latest verdict from Ofsted, still inadequate. It says the council is failing children in care and has lost touch with 1 in 4 young people who've left their care. Norfolk County Council says there have been improvements and the rating is not fair.
Members of the Children's Services Committee meeting this morning in gloomy mood. In the past 2 years, strenuous efforts have been made to turn the department around. Ofsted's overall judgment today, still inadequate, came as a body blow. You're angry?
I'm slightly angry, but I can't afford to be angry because actually I don't want to stop my focus from the children. We have 2,000 people here who work in social services. They need to be motivated. They don't need to feel they're doing a bad job. We need to help them. We need to keep their confidence going because I know now we are so much better than we were 2 years ago.
Millions of pounds has been invested in the turnaround plan since the resignation of former director Lisa Christensen in 2013. The council says there are a lot of positives in the report, but inspectors found 16 children in its care did not have an allocated social worker. They found serious delay in decision-making and not enough support for children leaving the council's care. Ray Bury has had many run-ins with Children's Services. He's hoping an MP's call will yield results.
Norman Lamb has written to James Joyce and to the new director, Michael Rosen, requesting a meeting with us. And I really hope that they will start engaging with us and have a conversation.
Do you think they can be outstanding, this department, in the future?
Well, of course they can, but they need to work with us. They need to work with the foster carers. They need to listen to the foster carers. They need to listen to parents. They need to listen to their partners.
In a statement today, the Department for Education said Norfolk County Council's Children's Services has now been rated inadequate for a 3rd time by Ofsted, and clearly this is not good enough. We are now considering what further steps need to be taken to drive up standards and secure rapid improvement. That's unlikely to be achieved with fewer resources, but committee members were today charged with identifying possible cuts to the department's future budget. The original report by Ofsted was delayed after the council questioned some of its findings. Now, it says errors identified in the original draft report have not been corrected in today's final version. So the council's now involved in Ofsted's formal complaints procedure, the outcome of which we might know by late November. Kim Riley, BBC Look East, Norfolk County Hall.
Well, Michael Rosen took over as Director of Children's Services in September. He was promoted from a senior role within the department. I went to see him this afternoon to get his reaction to the report.
We do think they've given us a wrong judgment, and we think that on 2 grounds. One is that we believe they haven't fully considered some of the evidence we provided to them. That may have changed their assessment of our performance. We also believe they've been inconsistent in looking at our report in comparison with maybe other reports around the country.
Well, let me give you some detail, and you tell me whether each one you think is inadequate or requires attention. 16 children don't have an allocated social worker. Well, that's inadequate, isn't it?
If that were the case, I think that what the issue there is that we had 13 of those cases were in one team, and that was a case of a member of staff that left.
All right, let me give you another one.
And that was to do with the transition from one social worker to another.
Delays and drift regularly seen in casework. That's inadequate.
Delays and drift regularly seen in casework, I think we would accept that as a finding.
Okay, lack of progress is significant detriment to children in care and care leavers.
I think we also agree with Ofsted that the progress of children in care and care leavers is not as good as we'd like it to be.
Quality of practice is too variable.
I think that's equally, we'd agree with that.
So there are plenty of inadequates in there.
Well, actually, I think that's the issue, is that those things we would accept are there are also present in other authorities, and other authorities.
But they're not judging other authorities, they're judging you.
Variability is the standard for requires improvement.
If I am a young person coming into your service at a very important time in my life, and you're busy getting better, but you fail me, then that's no comfort to me that you're busy getting better.
No, and I think what I would draw your attention to in the report on that point is that there are consistent messages throughout the report that our work directly with children, directly with families, by our frontline social workers is very good and is having a positive impact. It's the wider system that is having a less effective impact, and that's where we need to put our improvement.
But how can delays and drift regularly seen in casework say that your work with families is good? Those two don't add up.
Well, those two paragraphs actually appear in the same part of the report, so that might be one of the things we might raise with Ofsted.
So are you the improvement that is required?
I am the improvement that is required. I am confident I can manage that improvement.
Does that mean that the people who've gone before you weren't good enough?
No, not at all. Absolutely, everyone has contributed to a part of this improvement journey.
So all of those people who contributed to inadequate were doing the job properly?
It wouldn't be fair for me to comment on events prior to 2013 because I wasn't here. What I can say, having been part of the interim team, which was very effectively led by Sheila Locke, is that actually we have moved this authority a long way in 2 years.
Effectively led to inadequate?
I think that's an unfair portrayal of the situation.
Well, it's what Ofsted
too inadequate, it was from inadequate.
Too inadequate?
And no, from inadequate.
Well, the end of the journey was inadequate, wasn't it?
No, from inadequate to, in many respects, better than adequate, because we have what requires improvement on several of the judgments in this report. I think that needs reminding and re-emphasising regularly, because that is progress, and it's quite significant progress in terms of where this authority's been and where it's going.
And where will it be this time next year?
This time next year, I would have ambitions that this authority would be solidly requiring improvement, and with some aspects of good.